Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the March 14th meeting of the Jackson County Board of Education. And I'd like to go ahead and call this meeting to order. All members are present. Our first item of business will be our pledge. We have some special guests here from West Jackson Elementary. We have Jake Hughes, Brooke King, Caroline Duncan, and Levi Adams. So if you guys would come forward, we'll be happy to stand for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. That never gets old, opening up the meeting with that. We'd like to thank our special guests from West Jackson Elementary. So our next item is approval of the minutes. So we have minutes from our Monday. This was our Love Fest meeting, Monday, February the 14th. That was Valentine's Day, for those of you guys not thinking I'm crazy. So minutes from our Monday, February the 14th meeting. Do I have any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes from our February the 14th meeting? So I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. Our second set of minutes to approve, the minutes from our Friday, March the 4th meeting. Are there any additions or corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve? So I have a motion. Do I have a second? So I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Meetings from the March 4th meeting minutes are approved. Our next item is approval of our agenda. We do have a couple of amendments for the agenda. So we had a late add under the consent agenda. So we're going to have an item 7, a new 7. So we'll drop 7 to 8. And our new 7 will be recommend the attached job descriptions be approved for instructional technology coordinator, lead nurse, district nurse, and regional nurse. And then we do have a need for an executive session. It would be brief, and we do not anticipate any action coming from that. So considering those two items, do I have a motion to approve amending the agenda? So I have a motion. Do I have a second? So I have a motion and a second. All in favor of amending the agenda as stated? That's unanimous. Okay. All right. So next item then, if we've approved the agenda, is going to be the superintendent's comments. Dr. Howard, I'll go ahead and turn it over to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
going?
Clarsey, and a very special thank you to our board. And I want to thank our community and all of our staff, as well as the Board of Education, for being flexible as we rotate our location. And we're delighted that we were able to host it here at the Empower College and Career Center, and appreciate you all being here. For those of you who don't attend our meetings regularly, we take advantage of each month. We take great highlight of one of our schools, and this month we're going to be highlighting West Jackson Elementary School. This is a great opportunity for them to highlight the events that have been happening at their school. It's a very special school, so I'm going to ask Dr. Hardegree if you can come to the podium and introduce the team that you have and what you have for us. And while you're doing that, I'm going to gear up your presentation.
Well, thank you so much. We appreciate the opportunity to highlight West Jackson Elementary, and I want to say a special thank you to my Panther leaders and to their families for getting them here tonight to start us off with the pledge. We are excited to share some highlights with you all, and we have shared our STEAM journey with you over the past several years, but we've had a significant and exciting celebration since the last time we got to do a board highlight with you, and that is that we earned state STEAM certification at the end of last school year. So tonight we're going to showcase for you through a short video highlight a little bit about our beliefs and our culture at West Jackson Elementary and how we inspire and empower our students through our STEAMy specials And our arts integration, how we bring the arts integration together with social emotional learning, it's something that has really kind of set us apart, and we feel like it's really helped us develop a vibrant culture for learning at our school. And it's allowed others to kind of take notice. We've been very honored this year, in our first year as a state STEAM certified school, to be able to help other schools and districts along on their journey towards certification. So I'm going to let Lori King share a little bit with you, because we recently hosted a STEAM showcase for quite a few other schools. So she's going to share a little bit about that before we hop into our video.
Thank you. We had the honor of hosting 3 schools and 1 county to our school, where we could showcase what we are doing at West Jackson Elementary School, and it was so empowering. They got to observe all the classrooms. They took more pictures than their phone could hold and really talked to the students, and that's what this really is about. And so they got to see students who were coding with Ozobots, making public service announcements, talking about the effects of pollution on the Georgia habitats that they're studying. They got to see students who were counting and analyzing how much money they've collected from what they were selling in their pollinator grams, so they could buy future plants to increase pollinators at our school, at our own West Jackson school. So they were really mesmerized. One quote I wanted to share, they were so grateful to spend that time with us, really ask about what are we doing to lead that instruction, how do we get our community involved, and how do we sustain that? And we know that's one of the most important parts. But here's a comment they wrote back. Your staff has worked hard to provide an engaging, high-quality education for your students. The experiences were authentic activities that support learning and help to ensure that your students are prepared for their future. I left so inspired by you and eager to provide this in our own district. Honestly, I left wanting to enroll my own personal children in your school. And that's how we feel. We're always so proud that parents entrust us with their kids, and we know that we are doing the right work.
Hello, I'm John Knupp. I'm one of the other assistant principals there. And one of the other things that we're real passionate about is building leadership within our students. And as you can see, these are 4 great examples of our student leadership team, but we also have STEAM ambassadors there, we call them. And trust me, when adults come in the building, they want to see the things that are involved in STEAM, but they want to hear that the kids can talk about it and through those STEAM ambassadors. And they did, for our first STEAM visit where other schools came, they did such an incredible job. You know, the goats at our school, the aquaponics and everything, they're the wow thing, but when you get down to the nitty-gritty, can kids talk about STEAM? Can they lead others in doing so? And that's one of the key things we focus on. Our student leaders, our student leadership teams, they do a lot of helping our younger students get into the buildings in the morning. There's a lot of kids, we could tell you, that come into the building, and with our younger ones, they work with them and get them in, get their book bags up, help them get to certain locations, greet, do things like that. They're engaged in training throughout the year with their 2 sponsors that help out with that. And, you know, even there's time to time when if a parent comes in, then the students or new to our school with their students, they might end up chaperoning them around and showing them what things are. So thank you again to our students that came this morning or this evening. We have Jake, Brooke, Caroline, and Levi. And actually, Caroline is also our Mindset Hero of the Month this month for Live to Give. And so thank y'all all for coming and doing the pledge for us.
And I think Levi was a Mindset Hero for last month, so awesome job, friends. All right, and I want to give one more shout out to Amy Vickers, who is here with us tonight, for putting this video together. So we'll go ahead and let you hop into that. Thank you so much for this opportunity to highlight.
Welcome to West Jackson Elementary. We are a Georgia DOE certified STEAM school where students engage in inquiry-based STEAM learning every day. At West Jackson, we believe in supporting the whole child through social emotional learning, paired with integrated, authentic learning experiences that encourage students to go after big dreams and pursue their passions.
At West Jackson Elementary, several after-school programs and activities are available to students. These clubs provide an avenue for students to explore areas of interest outside of the traditional classroom setting. We have options and range of areas where every student can have the chance to shine. Each of our clubs is sponsored by a staff member who donates their time to enrich the lives of our students. At West Jackson Elementary, we strive to provide a multitude of ways that students can express and explore their interests.
One thing that sets WJES apart from other schools is the collaboration that takes place between the classroom teachers and the specials teachers. We work together to help students use the arts to solve their problems or to answer questions. One example of the collaboration between the specials teachers and the homeroom teachers is with first grade. These students were working to design and create an emergency sound signal that traveled over a distance. So Cam right here, he used a technology program called Waiver Ed. Cam, what did you do in Waiver to create your sound signal?
I made the sound waves go close together and I made them high to make a really high sound.
And so when you tested your sound waves out, did they travel over the distance?
Yes, they did.
Awesome. So Emma over here, she created an emergency device using materials from home. So what are some things you use?
Metal.
And what did you find out when you used things that were made of metal?
It's really loud.
It's really loud. And did it travel far over a distance?
Yes.
Awesome.
An example of collaboration in media arts is when I worked with Ms. Nemechek's class and we created some pollution PSAs, public service announcements. I've got my friend here, Josiah, and he's going to tell us about what exactly did Ms. Nemechek have you do in your STEAM journal before you started working on your poster.
So she made me write facts so I knew what to say, and we planned out what the poster was going to look like.
Can you show them what the process that you were using? You had your facts about the coastal plains over here, and you had your script right here. What did you use that script for?
I'm making my Canva poster.
And so we used the program Canva to produce a poster where they put all their images. So at the top of the poster, we had a little catchphrase. And what was your region that you did?
Appalachian Plateau.
Another example of collaboration between the specials teachers and the classroom teachers is a project that I did with Ms. Clark's class, where we made a 3D art sculpture out of plaster. And I have two girls here, Emery and Avery, that's going to talk about the process of how we were able to make this and what they had to do in their STEAM journal before the building process.
So we started with making a cooking show for our cake size, and we're gonna make a real cake, but then make it look like a real cake and use the recipe off of it. And this was our investigation about what we should say in our cooking show, and it helped us with our cake because it helped us get a real design for our cake and what our cake really should look like. When we were actually creating the whole fake cake size, after we had created the actual cardboard part of it, we had to measure it to know the area and perimeters of all of it, so we would know the surface area and the volume of our cake. So this is our joy compound. We use it to make the icing on our cake to make the cake look a lot more realistic. We also used Model Magic to create like the extra decorations on it. Like on this, we had whipped cream using Model Magic, and for other people, they could put like a strawberry or something else. And finally, we used paint to create the color of the icing, the color of the cake, and the color of the extensions on the top, accessories on top that make the cake look a lot more realistic.
Save the date. for March 31st, which will be our Spring Arts Festival here at West Jackson Elementary School. This event will celebrate youth art and music in our school's months, where students will have a masterpiece framed and on display in the art show, and our dance team and chorus will perform. Community members are invited to participate. Community makers and crafters are also invited to host a booth for their business.
Thank you, Dr. Hardigree, Ms. King, Mr. Canup, Ms. Vickers, and especially you wonderful students sitting in front. Thank you very much. I am so proud of the work that you're doing. It's pretty amazing. Some high-level math. I saw Dr. Brown over there. He was shaking his head. He was impressed with that math. That's really impressive. So it's very good. So thank y'all again for being here and doing such fine work there. We do have Mindset Matters. Those recognitions were scrolling before today's meeting, and so I'm not, just out of respect for time and the reception that we have to follow, that you can see that. We'll post that online, but we're very, very grateful that we continue to recognize those students, and as well as our students, we have outstanding teachers who continue to model and demonstrate the Mindset Matters and the things that we believe. Enrollment, our Board of Education had a work session on March the 4th, which was a full-day event, and so we did not get to have our normally scheduled work session. So we have here for you, Board of Education, these are just updates for you, our enrollment. It's linked in here. I'll project it so that you can see, but I think it's changing each day. Martha updated us during our executive cabinet today, and of course it's now, I think she said, up by another 10 students today. We got 10 new students today, so we continue to see increases as we go through that. Then, of course, we are continuing to be grateful that our SPLOST funds continue to do very good. We have here the general fund linked first, but you'll see that our SPLOST revenue for this month. Ms. Dodge is here. I know, there's Ms. Dodge. Any comments or thoughts? We're in a good place with SPLOST, and certainly in a very good place. We'll look at the general fund and the fund balance in just a minute. Mr. Clarsey picked up his microphone. I thought you might have a question. No, okay, great. All right, so there you can see, and then of course, I think probably of great interest if you tuned into the details of our retreat, we are in a very good place in terms of our fund balance. This, you can see year over year, this is the highest fund balance we have seen in quite some time, and we're very grateful for that. So we're in a good spot. There's some legislative action taking place right now that we will be really watching closely, but it's a really good place for us to be. And outside of that, I do not have any other topics to share with you. I want to thank the board. I do want to, before I turn it over, welcome Dr. Brown. I know we have a reception following. I've had the privilege of spending some time with him today, and I think Jackson County is going to be in an amazing, great spot, and grateful for my time with him today, and we'll continue to partner in the next couple of months. Over to you, Mr. Clarsey.
Dr. Howard, thank you for that. It always is a good time to see our fund balance as high as it is. So we have our highest fund balance and our lowest millage. So that combined makes for a good day. Makes it easier for us to do what we need to do. So next on our agenda is our public comment period. I'm not sure, did we have anyone sign up? So we enter our period for public comment, so we will open the floor if there is anyone here wishing to address the board. Hear none, we'll move on. Our next item is our consent agenda item, and there are several items. What I asked Dr. Howard to do, just briefly, she's going to go through each one, and then we'll do a vote on the end. So at any time, I'll be looking. If anybody has any questions, just pop your hand up and we'll get them answered as we go through the items. Dr. Howard?
Absolutely. Happy to do so. Everyone here was at the board retreat, and I am grateful that we have an official name, so that's just making it official that the new school that will be built on Skelton Road will be called Legacy Knoll, and so we're looking forward to that. Approval of the Strategic Waiver School System Waiver Amendment. So as you know, in 2015, Jackson County Board of Education, all school districts in the state had to choose between being a charter school district, remaining status quo, which meant you could not waive any of the Title 20 expectations, or applying to be a strategic waiver school system. In Jackson County applied to be a strategic waiver school system. And so this amendment does not add any additional waivers per se. It just extends our waiver as a result of the COVID, because we haven't had data to be able to really determine whether or not we've met our performance standards. So the state has asked us to add this fourth amendment, and we'll reevaluate it again in 2 years. So any questions about that? It's somewhat of a formality. It extends our strategic waiver for 2 years. Okay. Of course, the project completion reimbursement resolution, as you know, we applied for capital outlay reimbursement funds, and that project has to be completely closed out, clear of all the audits and everything completed. Now that it is complete, then we have to have the board sign off on a resolution that it's complete. Anna, do you want to speak to that at all in terms of all the bills are paid, all the vendors have been, everything is done?
Again, the board just has to, give their approval that the project is complete so that we can get our final 10%.
Reimbursement from capital outlay.
Yep, retainage, because they basically retain 10% until the architect signed off on it and the Board of Education signed off. So once y'all do that, then we should be able to get all the rest of our funds on that project.
All the more reason to be conservative, because you don't get the last of your money till several years after you're finished with the project.
That's right. True statement. You have to, that has not changed. If you did not have a chance, we can come back to it, but there's just a few things there for sale or disposal that are surplus items. You have before you a list of personnel action items. Just a reminder, this is quite a lengthy document. This is our regular monthly certification, as well as a renewal of all of our tenured certified staff who are their annual renewal. So that's why there are so many there. Any questions of that one before we skip it?
That is a lengthy list.
It is. Yep. Which is what Ms. Todd was busy doing. The item number 6 that you see there is we would like to proceed with putting out an RFP for the lease purchase of 25 new school buses. That was in our budget presentation that we shared on March the 4th. That does go through an RFP process, but we wanted to make sure that you were good with us proceeding with that RFP process. All right, great.
Everybody good with that? Everybody good with that? Okay.
And then the last two are our job descriptions. The number 7 was the job descriptions that we talked about in February, instructional technology coordinator, as well as lead nurse, district nurse, and regional nurse. They laid on the table. And then library media specialist is just a revision. So that's just a few tweaks to get it up to date. No real substantial change to that. So any questions on either of any of those?
We just needed to update it to reflect some of the actual digital media responsibilities that they do. Website, social media, being the communication ambassadors at the school. That wasn't a part of the original job description. So those are the duties that were added.
Yeah, so basically this is just what they're doing right now.
Yes, ma'am. Good call.
So that's all the items that, hopefully that explains them.
All right, Dr. Howard, thank you for that explanation. So we have our consent agenda items. Do I have a motion to approve the items on the consent? So I have a motion. Do I have a second? So a motion and a second. All in favor? That's unanimous. Consent agenda is approved. And we do have a need for executive session. It is 5 of 7, so it shouldn't take us but a minute. That's right. So I get a motion to go into executive session. So I have a motion. Do I have a second? Motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. It's unanimous. As we return from our executive session, as we take our seats, do I have a motion to come back from executive session? So I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Motion and second. All in favor? Aye. That's unanimous. So we are back from executive session, and before we adjourn, we would like to invite everyone to our reception next door, and it'll be a good time. So we stand adjourned.